Good morning, my friends. Rising from failure, a comeback story. Life is suffering. That's the starting point. And if you don't believe that, you haven't been paying attention. The question is not whether you will fail, you will. The question is, what will you do when it happens? Because failure is not just an obstacle, it's the proving ground of character. You will fall. You will encounter hardship. You will make mistakes that leave you shattered, questioning your worth, your competence, and even your right to keep trying. But listen carefully, failure is not a signal to stop, it's an invitation to transform. The world does not reward those who never fail, it rewards those who get back up, who learn, who adapt, and who refuse to be defined by their lowest moments. Failure is an unavoidable aspect of life, an experience that everyone encounters at some point. It is easy to perceive failure as a dead end, a final judgment on one's abilities and potential. But that perception is flawed. Failure is not a full stop. It is a comma, a pause that offers an opportunity for reflection, learning, and ultimately transformation. Those who succeed in life are not necessarily the ones who never fail, but rather the ones who learn how to respond to failure in a constructive way. It is a moment that calls for growth, not retreat. When a person fails, the initial instincts often to withdraw, to retreat into self-pity, or to seek comfort in blaming external circumstances. While this reaction is understandable, it is not useful. Failure presents an invaluable chance to reassess one's approach, to break down what went wrong, and to identify the weaknesses that need to be addressed. If taken seriously, it forces a person to ask difficult but necessary questions. What could have been done differently? Was the goal clearly defined? Were the right skills in place? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are essential for growth. Avoiding them only ensures that the same mistakes will be repeated in the future. Failure is a painful but powerful teacher. It exposes flaws and vulnerabilities that might have remained hidden in the absence of adversity. It demands self-examination, something that most people would rather avoid. But without self-examination, there is no progress. There is no refining of skill, no strengthening of character. The most accomplished individuals in any field, whether in business, athletics, academia, or the arts, have experienced failure on a profound level. What sets them apart is not the absence of failure, but their ability to extract value from it. They understand that every failure contains a lesson, and every lesson contains an opportunity for transformation. Failure also forces a redefinition of priorities. When something does not work out as expected, it provides clarity. It forces an individual to consider whether the goal was truly worthwhile in the first place. Sometimes failure is a sign that a different approach is needed, and sometimes it is a sign that a completely different path should be taken. This moment of reassessment is not a setback, it is an opportunity to refine goals, to ensure that energy is being directed towards something meaningful. Many successful people look back on their failures with gratitude, recognizing that those moments force them to pivot towards something better. The transformation that comes from failure is not just external, it is internal. It reshapes a person's mindset, fortifies their resilience, and deepens their understanding of themselves. It instills the realization that setbacks do not define a person, how they respond to setbacks does. Failure teaches patience, discipline, and the ability to endure discomfort in the pursuit of something greater. Through this process, a person develops a form of strength that cannot be obtained in any other way. When failure strikes, the immediate response is often an attempt to deflect responsibility. It is tempting to blame external circumstances, bad luck, or even other people for what went wrong. However, this approach only serves to delay growth and improvement. Taking responsibility for what comes next is the only way to regain control. It does not mean taking the blame for everything that happens, especially when some failures are caused by forces beyond one's control. Instead, it means accepting the role of an active participant rather than a passive victim. By doing so, a person shifts their focus from what has happened to what can be done about it. The ability to take responsibility requires brutal honesty. It demands a willingness to analyze what led to failure with a clear, unfiltered perspective. This is difficult because it forces an individual to confront their own shortcomings, acknowledge where they went wrong, and accept that their actions or decisions contributed to the outcome. This level of self-examination can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Without it, failure remains nothing more than an unfortunate event rather than a source of valuable insight. Every setback carries within it the seeds of improvement, but those seeds will never take root unless a person is willing to examine the situation with clarity and purpose. Taking responsibility also requires resisting the urge to dwell in self-pity. It is easy to sink into despair after experiencing failure, to become consumed by thoughts of inadequacy, or to replay the mistakes repeatedly in a cycle of regret. But this mindset accomplishes nothing. It keeps a person trapped in the past instead of moving toward a solution. Responsibility is about forward motion. It is about taking what is learned from failure and using it to fuel action. No one else will come to fix the situation, and no amount of complaining will change what has already happened. The only path forward is to recognize that the burden of progress falls on the individual. This process is not about perfection. It does not mean that a person will suddenly have all the answers or that they will immediately know the right path forward. It means taking ownership of the learning process, refining strategies, and making better decisions. It involves making small, incremental improvements that build upon one another. Each step taken in the right direction is a step away from failure and toward success. The key is consistency. Even if the progress is slow, it is still progress. Taking responsibility ensures that failure is not final, that it becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. The power of responsibility extends beyond individual success. It shapes character, builds resilience, and fosters an internal sense of control. A person who consistently takes responsibility for their actions and respects it develops a strong foundation for future challenges. They become adaptable, resourceful, and capable of handling setbacks without losing momentum. This shift in mindset transforms the way failure is perceived, not as a devastating end, but as a necessary step in the pursuit of excellence. Learning from failure is not a passive process. It is not enough to experience a setback and simply hope that things will be different next time. Growth requires deliberate effort, a willingness to analyze what went wrong, and a commitment to make meaningful adjustments. And many people fail and then repeat the same mistakes because they do not take the time to truly understand the causes of their failure. They react emotionally, either by becoming discouraged or by ignoring the problem altogether rather than stepping back and approaching it with clarity. The ability to learn, adapt, and adjust is what separates those who rise from failure from those who remain stuck in it. The first step is self-reflection. This requires a level of honesty that can be uncomfortable, as it means confronting mistakes and weaknesses head-on. It is far easier to shift blame elsewhere or to rationalize why things did not work out, but doing so only ensures that the same mistakes will be made again. Self-reflection means asking the hard questions. What specific actions led to this outcome? What assumptions were incorrect? Were there warning signs that were ignored? Were the necessary skills in place, or is further development needed? This process requires detachment from emotions and a focus on objective truth. It is not about assigning guilt, it is about identifying areas for improvement. Once the lessons have been extracted, the next step is adaptation. This means taking what has been learned and applying it in a meaningful way. Adaptation is an active process, requiring a shift in mindset and behavior. It may involve developing new skills, refining strategies, or even changing fundamental beliefs about what is possible. A person who adapts well does not simply repeat the same approach and hope for a different result. They recognize that circumstances change, that old methods may no longer be effective, and that flexibility is essential. Rigidity in thinking leads to repeated failure, while adaptability creates new opportunities. Adjustment is the practical execution of these changes. It involves making calculated decisions based on the insights gained from failure. This is where theory is put into action. It may mean approaching a challenge with a different strategy, setting more realistic goals, or shifting focus entirely. Adjustments should be specific and measurable, allowing for progress to be tracked and evaluated over time. A key component of adjustment is patience. Immediate results should not be expected, and setbacks may still occur. The important thing is to remain committed to the process and to continue refining approaches as needed. Resilience plays a crucial role in this process. Learning, adapting, and adjusting require the ability to tolerate discomfort and uncertainty. It is easy to revert to old patterns when faced with new difficulties, but true growth demands persistence. Each failure provides new information, and each adjustment brings a person closer to success. The process is continuous, as every challenge presents an opportunity to refine skills, strengthen resolve, and develop a greater understanding of what it takes to achieve meaningful goals. Pain is an inevitable part of life, and failure is one of the most painful experiences a person can endure. It brings disappointment, frustration, and sometimes even despair. But pain, when properly understood, is not merely something to be avoided. It can be a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. Pain exposes weaknesses, highlights areas that need improvement, and provides the raw material for progress. When channeled correctly, it becomes fuel for resilience, determination, and ultimately success. Those who learn to turn pain into progress do not waste their suffering. They use it as a stepping stone to something greater. The first step in transforming pain is to acknowledge it fully. Many people attempt to suppress or ignore their pain, hoping it will disappear if they do not think about it. Others try to numb it through distraction or unhealthy coping mechanisms. But avoiding pain does not eliminate it, it merely delays the inevitable. The discomfort lingers beneath the surface, influencing decisions and behaviors in ways that may not even be fully recognized. Acknowledging pain means facing it head-on, allowing oneself to feel it, and understanding its source. This requires courage because true acknowledgement often comes with the realization that change is necessary. Once pain has been acknowledged, it must be understood. Every painful experience carries within it valuable lessons, but these lessons are not always immediately obvious. A setback at work, a failed relationship, or a missed opportunity might seem like meaningless suffering at first. However, upon closer examination, patterns often emerge. Perhaps the failure resulted from a lack of preparation, poor communication, or unrealistic expectations. Perhaps it was caused by external circumstances beyond personal control, highlighting the need for adaptability. Painful experiences force individuals to confront their limitations and recognize areas that require growth. The key is to extract the wisdom hidden within the suffering. After extracting the lessons, the next step is to use them as motivation. Pain has an incredible ability to sharpen focus and intensify drive. When harnessed correctly, it becomes the force that pushes a person beyond their previous limits. Athletes who experience devastating losses often use that pain to train harder and refine their skills. Entrepreneurs who fail in business analyze their mistakes and come back stronger. Individuals who experience personal hardships develop a greater appreciation for discipline, patience, and perseverance. The most successful people in any field have endured pain, but they refuse to let it break them. Instead, they used it to build something greater. Progress requires action. Pain can either become an excuse for stagnation or a reason to move forward. The choice is always there. Those who turn pain into progress understand that action is the antidote to suffering. They take what they have learned and apply it in tangible ways. They make adjustments, improve their skills, and approach challenges with a renewed sense of purpose. Pain provides clarity, stripping away illusions and exposing what truly matters. It forces a reevaluation of priorities and a reassessment of personal strengths and weaknesses. Through consistent effort and a willingness to grow, pain is transformed into something meaningful, a foundation upon which future success is built. Thanks for watching.